Let me make sure this is working as usual. Come on, come on. Turn the volume off. Perfect! All right. Hi everyone. Welcome to my drawing stream. I am Irene Strakowski, aka Reedy Draws. And today, as you can see on my screen, I'm just going to do a quick sketch of ALITA from Battle Angel Alita because I saw the movie a couple weeks ago, a little earlier than everyone in the States because I'm in Taiwan, we had an early release, and I've been itching to talk about the movie and also maybe draw something for it. So, warning, first of all, this is going to be a spoilerific video. I'm going to go into details about what happens in the movie. So if you don't want to be spoilered for that, that's a word, probably you can still watch, you can turn the volume off, you know, if you want to just look at the drawing, or you can skip this video and look at some of the other drawing videos that I have on. So yes, spoiler warning, spoiler warning, spoiler warning. However, as for whether or not I liked the movie, I did. I did like ALITA. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't perfect because I'm really, really picky, but it was good. And dare I say, it is probably the best Hollywood adaptation of a manga/anime that we've had. Yeah, finally we have a decent, not perfect, but decent adaptation of manga and anime. It is what manga and anime nerds have been waiting for a very long time now, and I was satisfied. I was very satisfied. But okay, so before we get into all that, let me do my Patreon shoutouts. And hold on, let me pull up the names. All right, so yes, before we get started with anything else and before I ramble on for too long, I would like to thank my patrons of $5 and up, which I always say I'm going to do a shout out on all my videos, so I'm going to do it first because I always forget to do it at the end. And thank you to Joe Casaba, Joshua Kazakavicius, Jerry Orda, Matthew, just Matthew, I don't think you put your last name on there, so sorry. Joey Lenz, Non-Branded White Sox, and Dennis Sarrazin. Thank all of you so much for supporting me on Patreon and helping me get my creator-owned projects off the ground. As if any of you know, my Patreon is geared towards the supporting the creator-owned comic that I'm working on. If you want to check it out, it's Reedy Draws. I'm Reedy Draws on pretty much any platform, but RENIEDRAWS. I have a lot of content on there that's public, but I also have, of course, a lot of sneak peeks and behind the scenes stuff that are for patrons only. So if you would like to check that out, even if you don't really have the resources to pledge on Patreon, if you want to just see what I post on there and check out my creator-owned project, you can do that. All right, so now that that's out of the way, let me sort out my setup here a minute. Hopefully my audio is okay. Ooh. I realized that the background music I have on was really loud when I went on my videos last time and did a short playback to check the audio quality. So I turned it down a bit. Hopefully that's less jarring for everybody. So, and if anybody on the live stream wants to comment on anything, ask any questions, you know, if you want to, I mean, I'm keeping my eye on the comments. So just so you know, if you have any questions, just don't hesitate to pop in and write something. I have a second screen over here and I'm keeping an eye on what everybody says. So if you want to ask about art, if you want to ask about my own project or about, you know, just what I'm working on, or comment on what I'm saying about the movie, then just hop right in and say so. All right, let's get started. So yeah, I started out with quick sketch, as you can see, that I was doing while I was getting prepared and also stubbing my face with inordinate amounts of caffeine earlier. So I'm going to start out with this and work from there. So I actually read the manga for ALITA a really long time ago. I think it might have been when I was in like middle school. So I started reading manga in middle school. And I've told this story a whole ton of times, but I grew up in Taiwan, and in the apartment that my family lived, in middle school and high school, there was a manga shop, a manga bookstore, which is kind of like an American comic shop, except what's really cool was these stores aren't around anymore, which is really sad because I really love them. But I guess, you know, print is dying, and even in Asia, most people read comics digitally. But at least in Taiwan, though honestly, even when I was in Japan, I didn't see too many of these comic shops around, so it's a little disappointing. But anyways, when I was growing up, these were these comic or manga shops, more like, they were kind of all over the place, and I love them because I didn't want to go home because I was at the age where I don't like being at home, and I didn't have anywhere else to go. I had a little bit of freedom, you know, being in middle school and all. I could stay out a little bit, but I also didn't live near any friends. I didn't really have many activities I could do except for go to the manga shop and read. So what I would do was I would tell my parents that I'm going to the library to do homework, and I would just be at the comic shop, manga shop. I keep on saying comic shop because in my mind, manga and comics it's like the same thing, but it's the manga bookstore. And the one that we have here, the chain store, was if you grew up in Taiwan, I think they also were in Hong Kong, but if you grew up here, you will know what I'm talking about. It's called Shida Shufang, and they're like this. They had this yellow sign with blue letters, and they're everywhere. So I basically grew up in the manga shop. But to the important point, which is a really cool part, was at these stores, you don't just buy the books off the shelf as you would in an American style comic store. You could rent the books like a library. So I suppose maybe a more appropriate term would be a manga library, but you could, for example, rent a book to read in the store for 5 NT, or you could rent one to read at home, and you would have a week to read it, and that would be 10 NT. And it was just a store full of manga, just a huge shop, and everything was for rent. So that was really cool. But anyways, I recall that was where I first read ALITA. I remember I really liked it, of course. It was right down my alley. I think around that time I was really into, I do remember it was one of my favorite series at the time. I was into ALITA, and also Gunsmith Cats was one of my favorites. For some reason I was also really into GTO because I have taste. I don't. But it was a really long time ago. So I actually there's a lot of details I don't remember. So disclaimer, I went into the movie kind of not remembering a lot of the details of the manga. I remember very well how it began, but sort of past the first arc, past the bounty hunter stuff, I have a lot of trouble remembering that. But it's just because I read it absolutely forever ago, and now I feel really old. But I have to go back and read the manga again, and I swear I will. But anyway, so I went into Battle Angel Alita, or Alita Battle Angel, because apparently James Cameron has to start all his movies with either an A or a T. I swear, at least I think that's the reason they changed it around from Battle Angel Alita to Alita Battle Angel. I don't know. James Cameron, why you gotta be difficult? I'm just kidding. But so I went into the movie having read the manga, but having read it a really long time ago. So I was already a fan. I knew the premise of the world, and I was, I knew sort of the setting and I knew the character, but it wasn't fresh in my mind. So that's sort of the mindset I went into it with. And I gotta say, I think I'm pretty critical of storytelling and films. Like, as a lot of my friends, I complain about everything. I have a problem with basically everything, and I don't know if I'm sure there are people that are more have a better critical eye than me, but especially with adaptations from anime and manga, I just have gripes all around. So oh my gosh, and especially with adapting, like this trend of adapting older stories into newer, live action remakes. Like, I'm so tired of it. So I was excited to see ALITA, but I was also I was kind of iffy, because the thing is, I know that James Cameron had wanted to make the movie for a very long time, and I felt like and I respect him a lot as a director. I like his movies, except for Avatar. And don't get me wrong, it was good, but it wasn't memorable. It was just, oh, it's visual spectacle. Wow, it's so pretty. Wasn't the most memorable epic story ever. But the sense I got was I went in kind of apprehensive, but I know that James Cameron had been trying to get this movie made for forever. He's had the rights forever, for like over 10 years. And because of Avatar, because of the special effects and CG and all this stuff, it took a really long time to make. But it sounded like he had a real love for the original, and he wanted to do justice to Gundam, or Gundam is the original title of the manga, of the Japanese manga. And so that was sort of what convinced me to go. I think if it was anyone other than James Cameron making the adaptation, I would have not went, because I'm so tired of anime adaptations, as most of them have completely failed. And so I was pleasantly surprised, and I did like the movie a lot. So the good parts. I think let's talk about the good parts first. I think the strongest thing about Battle Angel is ALITA herself. So Rosa Salazar did a really good job. I think it's hard to not be invested in ALITA, and like, I mean, she kicks butt. I feel like her acting was really good. She delivered the lines really well, and it was the action. Obviously, the action was really great. Though I don't know if that's really the actors or the CGI, but she, ALITA herself, is really sympathetic, and it's hard to not be invested in her character. And I think that's the strongest point about the film. And of course, another positive is how it looks. Like, it looks amazing. That kind of goes without saying. Though I always say that that's for something that Hollywood, like modern Hollywood, makes. Of course, it's going to look really stunning and amazing and mind-blowing. That almost goes without saying. So I always, like, the thing I say is, I'm not wowed by pretty CGI and special effects. That's really not that stunning anymore, because we all know that if you have a big budget and you have a lot of money, you can make things look really good. So I try to not comment too much on that, because we all know that, yes, CGI technology right now is very advanced, and they can make things look good, and they have really good mocap and all that stuff. But I think that even though I kind of am jaded about special effects and flashy CGI, ALITA kind of stepped it up even more. It kind of, it kind of impressed me. Impressed someone who is as skeptical and jaded as me. It looked very, very, just, everything looked real. Like, I think there were a couple of parts where I think the way Alita's hair looked was a little off to me. I know hair animation is really hard to get just right. So it's sort of the way her hair fell and the way her clothes fell, the wrinkles sometimes looked, it was a little off. The lighting was perfect. The lighting and texturing and her movements, the technology. And I especially remember like the way when Alita got the body, the warrior body, the way the metal moved and all that, and the reflections on that, how it blended into the environments, that was spot on. That was perfect. The textures and lightings on the CGI was great. But I felt like the hair and the clothes that were on Alita's body were kind of off at some points. But other than that, like the eyes and the skin, that all looked really, really good. But I know hair and cloth dynamics are some of the hardest things to do in CGI. So that's forgivable. That's like that's still a 99.5 out of 100 score on CGI. So again, I'm just really picky. You'll probably love it, and you probably won't see any problems at all with it. As for visuals, what I thought was strange. What I didn't like about the visuals. Okay, so the fight scenes were fantastic. Alita herself looked great. I don't know what to do with this elbow here. This is wrong. So I'm kind of making up this body that I'm giving her as I go. I'm doing more of a manga version of the character, obviously. Actually, I think I'm going to switch my brush. I don't like this. I'm using this flat brush that's kind of the same width all around without any width adjustment. Okay, anyways, yeah, I think I'm going to switch my brush. But obviously I'm doing more of a, oh, that's so much better. Okay. All right, so, but I'm not doing any specific body of hers here. I'm kind of just making things up as I go. Though I put the 99 on her shoulder, as you can see. Ooh, let's save real quick. But what was I saying? I was saying that, what is this? Oh, sorry, I had a notification come up on my computer. But, what I did think was strange was, oh yes, the city. So, look. Scrap City is supposed to be just a slum, right? It's supposed to be the most downtrodden, crappy, backwater place ever, but I just didn't think it was, okay, I understand that they had to make the movie PG-13 and they wanted to appeal to as broad of an audience as possible, but it kind of disappointed me that Scrap City didn't look as dark as I would have liked it to look. It looked the way that I see it in my mind, and the same way it looks in the manga during the shots that were at night, right? But in the shots that took place during the daytime, it really didn't look particularly, it didn't really look like a slum at all. It kind of looked like your, almost your average American city. To me, I was like, it looked gorgeous. It was beautiful, and there was a lot of really cool architecture and like kind of even slightly steampunk stuff, here and there. But in my mind, I was looking at it, I was like, this just looks like San Francisco, basically. It was San Francisco. It was sunny and beautiful, and it's all quaint buildings everywhere, and everybody all the people walking around have normal clothes on, and it's not, cute little street vendors everywhere, and every couple of streets you have a weird robot thing rolling through the streets. That's San Francisco, right? That's totally San Francisco. So that's what I was thinking when when I was looking at those scenes, and I think what they were going for was probably because the movie started out with a bit of a more lighthearted tone, and the darker themes of like people dying and the repo guys basically who would steal cyborg body parts and all that dark stuff and all the fights and the conspiracy, that came in later. So I think sort of what they were going for was, let me make sure I get this hair right. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I wonder how much I could finish on the stream today. Maybe at least finish your head. Then I'll probably like go eat. And then I'll finish the rest of her body. But anyways, so I think maybe what they were going for was they wanted to start out with more of a lighter tone and have the city look more sunny and innocent. And I think that was very obvious how that was ALITA's aesthetic throughout the movie. So they started out with her in sort of obviously the body she started out in was the one that Ito made for his daughter. So that was another change that I thought was really good. That was changed from the manga. So in the manga, ALITA's namesake was Ito's cat, which is not nearly as compelling as it being his murdered daughter. So that was a really good change. Actually, a lot of changes that the movie made, I thought were pretty good. Overall, they were pretty good. Most of the problems I had with it were structural, and I promise I'm going to get to those in a bit. But, what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So the body that ALITA started out was obviously, it wasn't a fighter's body. It was kind of delicate, and if you've seen it in the trailers, it was like the light-looking one with sort of almost cream-colored, and it was kind of almost, the details were, I thought it looked a little steampunk, but maybe that's just me. And it was like light and floaty, and it was really pretty, but it wasn't the body. So it wasn't like the silvery warrior body. And so she starts out with like kind of bright color clothes and kind of looking with a more innocent, younger looking body that wasn't sort of threatening, and this silvery, dark warrior thing that she kind of uses later on. And so the whole tone of the movie kind of moves from more innocent and lighthearted into something darker. And I think the design of the city probably that's what they were trying to go for, was to emphasize that change more. But I didn't like it. I'm like, the city is supposed to be the worst place ever. The people that live there are supposed to, all be just, there's no law. Like, even during the daytime, you would think a city with no real law, no police force, it would be a scary place, right? But during the scenes that took place during the daytime, it was just, people walking around that they just look like they're walking down, I don't know, LA, and they just had their purses out, and they're just, all dressed up and all pretty and stuff. And it's like, no, I think in this world, realistically, like, everybody would they would look tough. Like, to people that would live in Scrap City they would all be survivors. Like, they wouldn't look like, I don't know, like they didn't have a care in the world and everything was perfectly safe and okay. But anyways, that's probably a really minor gripe. Like I said, I'm really picky. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm focusing on sort of not, I'm detailing this hair way too much. I always do that. But yeah, that probably ties into me kind of wishing the movie was, I understand why they had to make it PG-13. They want people to be able to take their kids to it. They want to be able to take, that's how you make a movie like this work, right? That's how you make an anime adaptation work nowadays, because it's still kind of a niche market. And I know especially Hollywood execs are really iffy about giving the green light to these movies. Like, I remember, I did not see Ghost in the Shell, but it's because I read the synopsis. I looked into how I followed the production, and I looked into the changes that they were going to make, and I know the synopsis and the plot basically, and I was just not down for that, because I'm a pretty hardcore TV show fan for Ghost in the Shell. And like the original movie was really good, and the manga is very interesting, and very well done and entertaining. But I'm a huge fan of the TV shows, except for Arise. Arise is weird. That was a money grab, but that's another discussion. So I was really iffy about Ghost in the Shell, and this whole thing, the thing that happened with the production was I was following it, and I could just see the studio execs kept on getting in the way of the production. So it was, first of all, it was, oh, you need to have sort of a high banking actress play the lead role, which I understand that, and I think I don't have a problem with, you know, Scarlett Johansson not being Asian and all that stuff. I don't really have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is that the story still took place in Tokyo, apparently, but then half the lead, like most of the leads were not Japanese. I don't understand. And the franchise itself is very tied to the culture of Japan. It's not a very Americanized story. Which, again, on another note, I think ALITA was a very good story, a very good franchise to choose for an American adaptation, because it's one of those stories that would work with an American audience. It actually takes place in America. I think where is Scrap City and most of the story is supposed to take place is somewhere like in Kansas, I think, but it's literally in America. And just, you know, the premise is not sort of in the modern day. The world that and the issues that it talks about are kind of universal and global, but Ghost in the Shell is not that way. Ghost in the Shell is that whole outlook towards technology, and the philosophical discussions that happen in the series it's very uniquely Japanese. And one of the things is this idea about, now I'm talking about Ghost in the Shell instead of ALITA, but this is what happens when I talk about anime. I'm gonna start talking about Ghost in the Shell at one point or the other, okay? So carrying on, one thing about the original movie by Mamoru Oshii that you can see this cultural difference is the ending is kind of rejecting individuality, and I remember seeing that when I was like 16. First of all, I was really bored when I first saw it when I was 16, because I was 16 and I was like, this thing is putting me to sleep, but I was so shocked because I hadn't really seen anything like that. But then I started watching it a few times and I understood it was just a different outlook on it. And you would never see that in an American, you know, show. That's not like, because American culture is, yeah, individualism. But the whole philosophical conundrum of Ghost in the Shell is individuality really that valuable? Is sort of, that's why the whole idea of a collective consciousness, they go back to this time and time again in the TV show, in all the movies, and it's not just about, you know, consciousness being disembodied from a physical form, but so my point is that story is not, you know, particularly geared towards a Western audience, and on top of that, I know that the people that were bankrolling the movies, they had a lot of objections about the production, and I don't know the exact details. I don't know if the changes to the story and sort of doing this weird mishmash of the Hideo Kuze storyline from Second Gig, which I love, and from everything that I've heard, the Ghost in the Shell movie was not very good. I heard it looks good. I've seen a lot of clips. I haven't seen the whole thing. Everybody says it looks really good, but everybody has also said that the storyline is a mess. And from the best of my understanding is they mashed up the Puppet Master storyline from the Mamoru Oshii films, and then they also threw in the Hideo Kuze storyline from Second Gig. And I'm just like, how does that work? Those are two completely different storylines. They chronologically take place one after the other, but how do you just sort of mash it all up together? And so that kind of drove me crazy, and it just didn't sound like it was real. And I need to see it before complaining about it. You know, I shouldn't complain about things I haven't even seen, but still, my point is, it seems like with live action adaptations of anime franchises and of manga, that take place, adaptations done by American studios, there's still a lot of resistance, and there's still a lot of higher-ups and studio execs that think these adaptations won't work because what is this Japanese cartoon that what is this Chinese cartoon that you want to take my money and make into a live-action movie? Oh, we don't trust this. We're gonna get our fingers all in your business and make you change things up and make it, more, I guess, test screening group friendly and all that stuff. So, and I think that usually ruins the story. But maybe that's just me being too much of a purist and being one of those, angry fans of the original works, which I tend to be a lot of the times. But I do think that with ALITA, obviously James Cameron has a lot of clout as a director. And that probably helped with how much of the original ALITA they were able to keep in. And I'm really glad for that. And we're really lucky that we got that much. I don't see a lot of, it doesn't feel like there were a lot of sort of, big bankrollers in Hollywood telling the directors and the producers on ALITA what they could or couldn't put into the film. Probably just beyond the whole, we have to make everything CG. I don't think there was a lot of studio interference. That's the term. So, I think that's pretty good. Now, on to the problems that I had with the movie. The problems that I had. I did not like how it ended. The ending was basically a non-ending. That is my biggest critique. Oh, and my other critique was Hugo was utterly uncharming. I am sorry to the actor, but my man, there was no. Oh, I wouldn't even say there was no chemistry between him and ALITA, but I just felt like Hugo was not really like super charismatic, and in the manga he was sort of just like a scrawny orphan boy, and I get the direction they were trying to take him towards in the film, but I don't think they quite hit it. I think they could have picked a better actor. I don't think his acting was bad. It was just I didn't feel like he had the right charm, and yeah, and there was also a lot. They also stuffed a lot into like a 2-hour movie. I think the movie was it was like 2 hours. It was just like slightly over 2 hours. They stuffed a lot in, and it was hard to get to sort of no one care about anybody. That was a minor problem that I had. I actually didn't have too much of that. That wasn't like too big of a deal, probably because I understood why they had to do it. But that was probably also contributed to why I didn't find Hugo, particularly engaging. But I did not like the representation of Hugo in the film. But beyond that, which was my second big problem with the movie, I didn't like the ending. It was basically a non-ending. So, like I said in the title, this is a spoiler-rific video. So spoilers. They ended the movie with. I assume if you're watching this, then you have seen it or you've read the manga with so ALITA kills the guy that whatever his name, Marshall Ali. She kills Marshall Ali, and then so I would have ended the movie right there. I would have been like, that's a new stasis point. That's where everything should have ended. And leave the rest of the stuff and like Hugo dying and being murdered and the whole like shoehorning in of she's challenging Nova and all this stuff to the next movie. That could have been a great jumping off point. But so of course after ALITA defeated like the big boss and everything, and she already kind of declared a challenge to Nova after killing Marshall. I'm just gonna call him Marshall Ali because I'm blanking on the character's name right now. But after she defeated him, that I felt like that was a perfectly good place to end the story. But they went on, and they kept on rolling, and they kept on going to, oh, suddenly, Hugo, he almost died. He got transferred into a robot body, whatever, and then he wakes up, and then he decided to flee for his life because there's a bounty on him, and he starts trying to climb up this big gold cable and it's really dumb because it doesn't really even seem like you could climb up that cable. It's like pretty much vertical towards the end. But I also kind of wish he went crazy like he did in the manga. He didn't really like go crazy because I liked that. I like that part in the manga because it's like, oh, so he was transferred into a robot body. He's just a normal flesh and blood person like any of us. But to save his life, ALITA had to basically cut off his head and, you know, they surgically attach his head onto a robot body. And but like in the manga, when he woke up, he kind of went crazy because that's a huge shock for a normal person. That makes sense, but that didn't really happen in the movie. Though that's a minor thing. In the movie, he wakes up and he realizes there's bounty on his head. He can't stay in Scrap City anymore, so he has to run away. And he climbs up on this giant cable, and ALITA chases after him, but then this huge spinny thing comes down and knocks both of them down, and he falls off and dies. So, that was... They did that right at the end. I don't understand why they had to do that right at the end. That was kind of... The story... A perfectly concise story had already been wrapped up as soon as ALITA killed off the big bad of this arc. And it's not... I felt... It's not even that... If they hadn't done that, there wouldn't have an incentive for a sequel, right? There would have been plenty of incentive for a sequel. But it felt so shoehorned because it was really sudden. It was almost like, oh, we've already... I really felt like they were going to... someone had already spoiled to me that, you know, Hugo does die in the movie. But I was like... I knew the movie was wrapping up to an end. It was almost 2 hours, and I was like, oh, but they haven't killed... Are they going to kill Hugo in like the last 10 minutes? And yes, they did. And I was like, you're basically presenting a new plot point at the very end. Hold on, let me turn my heater off. It's actually getting warm over here in Taiwan, so I can't predict what the temperature will be at any time. Heater is like making this room really uncomfortable. But so I felt like they kind of rushed that in and they threw in Hugo's death, and it could have been more impactful. Here's what I think they should have done. They should have ended the movie right after ALITA killed off the big bad. I'm gonna look up his name because I'm just gonna keep on saying Marshall Ali. Oh, Vector! Yeah. I'm stupid and I can't remember. So after ALITA kills off Vector, they should have just ended the movie there. And, well, no, not like right there after ALITA kills Vector. They could have had sort of a new stasis, because that's the thing you want to do with the movie. Starts with a stasis. That's the whole, like, you know, it's this 3-act structure and all that stuff. You learn this in storytelling. And then there's, you know, this... initiating, you know, the conflict is initiated, then, you know, rising action, climax, and then falling action, resolution, and then you end the story with a new stasis. But it's a fact that, just objectively speaking, the ALITA movie didn't end with a new stasis. It ended like, there was a stasis, ALITA had killed Vector, and then suddenly they introduced this new conflict, and then Hugo is killed, and then she has to get revenge for him, and they shoehorn in this whole thing about, oh, 2 months later, she has, you know, become the champion at Motorball, and she's gonna go and challenge Nova and all this stuff, and watch the sequel for more. I felt like they ended it sort of with, the tone felt like the directors were just holding a microphone, or a megaphone to our faces saying, watch the sequel! And I didn't like that very much. Objectively speaking, the ending was basically not an ending, and I didn't like that. Which is a pity, because I thought it was very good up until that point, and I would have given it a much higher score. I'd say I give this movie maybe like a 70 or 75. I would have given it a much higher score if the ending had actually been an ending. but because most of the other problems I found pretty forgivable. And overall it was very well done. And overall, I'm just really, really picky. As I've said. Does his hair look okay? I'm getting way too detailed. I always get too detailed with hair. Let me add some more strands in here. Ugh. But yeah, so the ending basically being a non-ending was my biggest problem with ALITA. And I was disappointed that it wasn't all dark and gritty and edgy like it's supposed to be, like it was in the manga, but that's okay. Also, by the way, I didn't see the anime. I know there was an OVA adaptation. I never saw that. So I think someone said that the movie took some storyline and some of its structure from the anime. So I should watch that as well, though I have not seen the anime. So yeah, I gotta watch that, and then maybe I'll have some more to say about that. But so yeah. As I think if you haven't read the manga at all, I think this movie it'll feel like there's a lot of information, there's a whole lot of world building, and they crammed a whole lot into 2 hours, but I think it'll be enjoyable. For all its flaws, I think the character of ALITA and the fantastic job that Rosa Salazar did is reason enough to watch the film. So, and by the way, I think I saw some articles that were saying that it was going to be a flop. It's not a flop at all. I think it's doing really well, and I don't remember what charts I was looking at, but I was looking at sort of the movie release charts for Valentine's Day, and ALITA was like pretty much one of the top earners. It's doing really well, so I'm not sure why there are people going around saying it's a flop or having so many problems with it. It's kind of weird, to be honest. I think it's doing well, and it just released in China. It's doing like fantastically in China. So I don't know if it's released in Japan. I wonder how it'll do over there. Speaking of releasing in Asia, so by the way, did I mention it? They released it early in Taiwan because they released it for Chinese New Year's. But they didn't release it early in China. That's kind of strange. They released it for Chinese New Year's in Taiwan, but I think they released it later, and they just released it like this week in China, which is really strange. So, because Chinese New Year's was like 3 weeks ago. I don't understand why they did that. But anyway, so it's doing pretty well overseas, and I'm not really sure why there are people going around saying that it's, it's not going to do well, because I think it's going to do well. I'm going to go see it again, because I want to support, I think it's the first Hollywood adaptation of franchise from anime and manga that's really worth its salt. So I'm going to go support it. It's not my favorite movie on the planet, but it's also really, really good. And I want to see it again just to see sort of what new thoughts I have, if I can sort of view it with a more objective eye. Maybe I'll read the manga again to refresh my my viewpoint and what I remember about the original story. Though that'll probably make me dislike the movie more. Because I'll be like, oh, they changed this and that. But again, there was a lot of changes that they did in the movie that were actually, I thought were really good. Oh, another thing that I thought was a good change, a positive change in the movie. The Erm body that ALITA was changed into after her normal, the body that was meant for Ito's daughter. I really love that in the movie she found the Erm body herself. That was really cool. I felt like it was a little coincidental. It was like, oh, her friends, I mean, it made sense because Hugo was like, oh, here's a downed enemy ship, and we know that you're from the war from 300 years ago in the fall, so maybe you'll remember something. But it was also a little bit coincidental that it was just, oh, I know that there's this body in this ship, and she goes and she recovers it. But I love that she was the one to take initiative, and she found that warrior body for herself, and she had to convince well, in the manga she had to convince Ito to like put that body onto her, and like that's the same. They kept that same theme in the movie because Ito's all like, "No, you're not. I don't want you to be a warrior," and all this stuff. And though I think it was probably a little more clear in the manga, that whole part about, you know, he doesn't want she's an enemy and she has the potential to be so destructive, but so he was hesitant about giving her a warrior's body. But in the end, you know, her spirit is, she's gonna get in trouble, she's gonna want to fight, and you can't, like, if you don't put her in a warrior's body, that's just gonna be detrimental. She's just gonna go and get herself killed. So he kind of had no choice in both the movie and the manga but put her into the urn body. But in the manga, he just had the urn body sitting around, I recall. He just had it like in his basement. So I thought that was a pretty good change that the film made, having her take initiative and find that body for herself. So I actually really love that. What else? Guess they could have, again, I know there was already a lot of world building to sort of go over, and there was a lot of information crammed into 2 hours, but I kind of wish they had expanded a little on the whole city underneath, you know, the underground city where ALITA fights Worm Guy. He's called Worm Guy in the manga. I can't remember what the big huge cyborg that like is the main guy that keeps on coming back and trying to kill her. Let me look over his name. He had like a Russian name? Oh my god. I feel so ashamed. Oh, so much trouble remembering names. Ugh. Gerwishka! Gerwishka. Well, okay, his name is different. Yeah, the guy that works for Nova. Gerwishka. Yes, that's right. But so Gerwishka grew up like underneath the city and basically, you know, the underground, the gutters and stuff. And I wish they kind of expanded on that when ALITA fought him in that underground. But it's sort of fine. It didn't, you know, there's already a lot in like in the movie. There's already a lot in there for 2 hours. I gotta say the intro was really long. I feel like I kind of wish that they had sort of pushed. They could have shortened the intro a little bit. So what I realized was I recall that they expanded on the introduction a whole lot, and basically the first 30 minutes of the movie were like 10 pages of the manga. So they spent like 30 minutes just introducing the world and being like having ALITA be like, oh, cute little amnesia girl. That was like the 10 pages of the manga. It was really they really expanded on that and dragged it out. So I kind of wish they could have structured things a little differently. They could have, you know, obviously I had a problem with the ending, but beyond that they could have shortened the beginning a little bit and sort of just jump right into it. It would have been nice to get to know some more of the characters, and especially some of the side characters and ALITA's friends. So like I actually cared about them a little more. It would have been nice if the person who played Hugo had a little more charm and had a little more chemistry, and it wasn't strange, and I cared when he got killed. So I felt for ALITA when Hugo got killed, but I didn't particularly care about Hugo getting killed. That's what I felt like, and I feel like that's not really a kind of reaction you want from your audience. But like I obviously ALITA really cared about him, and I thought the acting from from her on that part was really good. But it didn't really particularly hit me that hard when he got, you know, wiped off the big cable. So let me save. Come on, let me check in comments. Okay. I feel this video is going on kind of long, but I want to finish her face. So I think I'll finish her face, and then I'm going to head off and grab some noms. There. Yeah, there. Oh yeah, another thing was, I don't think I've addressed the big robot eyes, or the big anime eyes. So I didn't really have a problem with that. I know a lot of, even people who read the manga, a lot of viewers were kind of put off by that going in, and I'm not really sure why. I know that it looks kind of uncanny, but if you look at the movie, all of the fighters have the big googly eyes. So it kind of made sense to me because it added to the idea that ALITA is special. She's from the fall, she's an outsider, and all of the other cyborgs of her type have the same look as her. So I didn't really have a problem with that. But like, I kind of wish they did more, because in the manga she had, you know, big, like, her nickname was Octopus Lips, so she had like big pouty lips and stuff. But I kind of understand why they didn't do that, because people would definitely have a problem with that, and somebody would freak out online, and you know, there are already people freaking out online about how she looks, but I don't know, people have a problem with everything nowadays. So I could definitely see how people would kind of like lose their minds about that and say, oh, she just looks like a sex doll. So there are already people saying that she looks like a sex doll, which I don't understand. She doesn't. She looks fine. I really like how they designed her. I don't understand. People have so many problems with everything. But yeah, I thought the CJ eyes and big googly eyes were just fine by me. I kind of wish they pushed it further, but you know, I'm weird. And I am going to stay true to that and give her some big googly eyes here. But I really hope they do get a sequel. Even though I didn't like that the ending was basically screaming at the viewers to go watch the sequel, basically. I still wish that they did get to do a second one. Which I don't know if they will. The movie is doing pretty well. But I mean, again, with the people that are in charge of it, you know, the people that have the rights to this, I'm sure they'll be able to manage, and I think our movie will earn its money back. I hope we get to see a sequel. We get to see more of the story. I think what did they say they had planned? I think there's 3 movies planned, so this is planned to be a trilogy, which is good because there are a lot of films that so you shouldn't end a movie. Each movie, even if you plan a story to be a trilogy, a movie shouldn't end with no ending. Each movie needs to be a self-contained story. Even if it's a trilogy, even if it's only one part of a larger story, each separate installment of the story needs to be its own contained story. You don't end a movie with a non-ending. Please end your movies with endings. Please end your stories with actual endings. But even beyond that, I do hope that the entire trilogy does happen. I think, from what I know, I think the second movie would... I want to see what they do with the second movie. I'm looking forward to it. Though, you know, with James Cameron working on Avatar, Avatar 2, it'll probably take another 10 years or something, which I don't understand why people want to see Avatar so badly. Like, do people even remember that? It was so forgettable to me. Probably because I didn't see it on the big screen, right? I was like really put off by, you know, the whole, people were flipping out about, oh my god, it looks so, the CG is so amazing. And I remember when it first came out, when did it come out? 2011 or something? So everybody was going on and on about how amazing the CG looked. And I was like, oh, it's just CG. They have money. Of course it looks good. So I didn't see it on the big screen. I think I went to like a friend's hotel and just saw it on like a normal TV screen. So maybe that's why I found it so forgettable. But then again, it's like, okay, it looks pretty, big deal. Oh my god, I'm so terrible. I know it's supposed to be like a huge accomplishment. I'm sure it was like a huge leap for CGI technology, but I was just like, okay. The story was basically, it was Pocahontas. Or more like this other story that, you know, Pocahontas ripped off. It wasn't really that mind-blowing, you know. Outsiders come to a new world and they meet the natives, and then this whole storyline about them, oh no, they're destroying the new world, and you have to understand the natives of that world. It's been done before, okay? It's been done. It's not really a mind-blowing story. So, I'm sorry. It's the truth. But I didn't find Avatar that interesting. Gah. But that's what people want to see, so. Are these eyes looking funny? I feel like they're lopsided. Oh my gosh. Just gonna concentrate on making these eyes look good for a second. I really wish I could have, I guess I should have started streaming earlier, but, I always forget that the time difference is gigantic. So it's like noon over here. Oh, it's like 1 p.m. over here in Taiwan, but I know in the States it's like exactly 12 hours time difference. So everybody I know is like asleep by now. But I'm terrible at scheduling and planning. What is planning? I don't know what planning is. I'm terrible at planning. Yeah. I will try to start my next stream. I don't know. I try to start around 8 or 9. You know, sort of the evenings. So it would be right after everybody in the States gets off work. But I also had to go run some errands in the morning today. Life's hard. Scheduling is difficult. Yeah, I'll try to get started a little earlier for my stream next week. Oh yeah, if anyone in the comments has seen ALITA, type in the chat and let me know what you think. I haven't really been able to talk to anyone about this movie. I've recommended ALITA to a few friends, but they've all been really busy and they haven't had time to go see it. By the way, this is like the first movie I've seen in theaters in forever. I haven't even seen Spider-Verse yet. I know. I'm terrible. I'm a horrible person. I want to see Spider-Verse, but I think when Spider-Verse came out, I was ouch. I just kicked my table. I'm so graceful. By the way, there's some music playing outside, so please ignore that. It's super loud. I'll probably turn my mic off. if it comes close. Okay, so yeah, there's a truck passing by playing really loud music. But yeah, so I haven't seen Spider-Verse yet, but I was on like crazy deadline when it came out, so I was like, I don't have time to see it. I know it's really good and I want to go see it. I'll buy it or something to make up for me being terrible and not seeing it in theaters. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But yeah, ALITA is like the first movie I've seen in theaters in years. I just never really go to the theater to see anything anymore. Mostly because I'm just a hermit. I stay at home and stream everything, dude. I feel like I'm getting so old. I don't even want to go buy stuff half the time. Like if I need to buy something, I don't even want to leave and go shopping. I just order it online. Oh, Mocap! Hello, you're in chat. How are you? I know it's probably late over in the States. Assuming that you are in the States, you're probably not. Have you seen ALITA yet? These lines on her nose are looking strange. Alright, let's give her Octolips. Yay! Where am I? Oh, Mocap, I'm in Taiwan. Sort of about an hour south of Taipei. So Taipei is like right at the north, it's the capital city. I'm not in Taipei, but I'm like an hour south. I'm in a city that nobody knows where it is, so I just say I'm an hour south of Taipei. So not far from Taipei. But yeah, I'm in Asia, so I'm pretty much the exact opposite time zone as most of the United States. It's hilarious. Oh yeah, I was in the States before. Yeah, I lived in the States for like 10 years. I'm from Taiwan actually, but I moved to the States for college and I lived there for like 10 years. But then I moved back a couple years ago, and just mostly just to save money, basically. I'm thinking of moving back to the States sometime, but I don't know when. I have no idea. We'll figure that out. All my family is in Taiwan, so it's kind of just easier at this point. It's just easier for me to, you know, and cheaper for me to live in Taiwan for now. But also, it's kind of strange because I'm culturally not very Taiwanese. I don't want to get into that, but yeah, I kind of do miss the States now that I'm here. I'd like to go back more. Yeah, I'm considering moving back to the States, but I still don't know where yet. I lived in Atlanta and Austin. And my dad's from New York, so I go to New York a whole lot. Oh, you know another art streamer from Taiwan? Cool! That's awesome. On what platform? I don't think I've seen any other art streamers from Taiwan. There are very few people doing art videos and art streams. How's that? I like those Octolips. Let me save. I think those are good Octolips. Yeah. Yeah. That's her pose. Yeah. She looks way cuter than me. Yeah, I'm not gonna finish the whole drawing in one sitting. It's gonna take me forever. But actually, I probably take a break from this in like 30 or I don't know. I'll probably take a break from this after I'm finished with the face. And I have a cover commission to work on, so I'll probably go work on that. And then come back and finish her body later tonight. Yeah. I like how that body looks though. I based it on one of her looks from the manga, but I made a bunch of changes. And I love cyborg stuff, and obviously, like I mentioned, I'm a huge Ghost in the Shell fan. I love drawing machinery and all that stuff. But as you all know, I'm one of those weird people that enjoy drawing perspective and robots and environments and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, of course I love drawing cyborgs. Duh. Oh, well, yeah, my dad's American, so, and I went to, even though I grew up in Taiwan, I went to American school, so, or bilingual school. It's international school. So I grew up speaking English. I grew up completely bilingual, so yeah, my English is not a problem. And also I lived in the States for 10 years, so yeah. You can probably tell this is a pretty American accent. pretty American over here. Not very foreign sounding, but no, I'm a dual citizen, so I'm Taiwanese and American. I'm a rare breed! Oh, I'll check that out. Yeah, thanks, Mocap. I'm still kind of figuring out this streaming stuff, but I'll check out what you sent me. Yeah. I'm still new to all the streaming stuff. I'm still a newbie at this. Still a newbie. Ah. I was thinking it would be easier to have people on the stream to talk with you, but I don't know, I do a lot of hangouts with other artists, but most of the artists that I chat to are really shy, which I understand. But I'm just like, oh, do you want to come on the stream with me and just chat about art? And they're like, no, I don't want to talk. It feels like pressure. You're just talking and everybody can see and it's public. I'm like, yeah, I know it's public, but you know, I'm like, my channel's tiny. Nobody's gonna watch. It's more fun. You know, it helps with promoting our artwork, but you know, it's fine. I understand. Artist types are usually really shy. It's fine. It would be nice to have people to, you know, do streams on Twitch or YouTube and just talk about art and stuff. I don't know. Yeah. But I can keep on doing streams just on my own. I'll just talk to myself until and hope that people actually want to see my channel and listen to me talking to myself for hours on end, and maybe I'll be able to build a channel that way. I don't know. Why would anyone want to listen to me yap on for hours and hours to nobody? Hey, why not? It's worth a try. I'm sitting at my computer drawing all day anyway, so I might as well stream it, right? That's what I'm thinking. Do these eyes look weird? I think their eyes are a little bit off. Oh man, I'm getting really hungry. Ugh. Yeah, it's like lunchtime here. I had a late breakfast, but I didn't eat much. Go eat soon, but I want to finish her eyes. I like that face. Let me flip it to check for that balance. Oh, that's not too bad. You know when you flip an image, sometimes because you're so used to looking at it or staring at it, and you flip it and it's just like super janky. Yeah, no, this looks okay. Let's see. I think her eyes are actually a little too big, but oh. I could raise the top of her head a little bit. I'll fix that later. Let me finish her irises over here. I haven't done fan art in a really long time. Actually, I usually don't do fan art at all. Let's give her some giant proper anime eyes. Aww. Giant anime eyes. Aww. That's my anime eye drawing noise. Let's see. She's a little baby faced. Well, ALITA is always baby faced. So. that look right? I think that looks right. Thinking what else I can add into this drawing. I'm not sure. Okay, I think that's decent. Oh, let's add in her face marks. Pew! There. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where I'm gonna go to even read the manga now. I guess I'll find it online. I think, is this published by Kodansha? Everything is published by Kodansha. I can probably find it online. I can just pay for that, like, $2 something. Was it? Kodansha was the publisher that made all of their manga. I don't think it's free to read, but you pay like $2 USD a month to, and you have access to everything. It's amazing. I should really buy that. So, but I'll probably I can probably buy it online and read ALITA. But there's nowhere to read hard copy comics anymore. It's kind of disappointing. I like having comics in print form. Maybe it's just me being kind of old school, but like it's different when it's digital, right? Because you don't have the page turns and you don't, having the book printed in your hands. My neighbor is trying to, I don't know, break a wall. They stopped. Thank you. My word, manners. Excuse me. But yeah. I gotta go read the manga again. But I don't know where. I'll probably find it online. Alright. I think that's good enough. There's decent progress. I gotta do some more work on her hair, obviously her body, but I'll post the final of this when it's done on Twitter and on my Patreon and everything. So if you want to see the final version of this, you want to see more streams, so follow me on Twitch and also YouTube. I'm Rini Draws on all these channels, and you can follow me on Twitter or Facebook if you want to see notifications for more of these drawing streams and just see any other random art stuff that I post, outside of, the drawing streams and all this stuff. So, and I'm Rini Draws on everything, RENIEDRAWS. This is as far as I'm gonna go today because it's, I'm hungry and my neighbor is making a lot of noise. But thank you guys for joining me. DJango1138, yeah, bye. Thank you so much for joining me. And till next time. And oh yeah, go see ALITA. It's a good movie, so go support ALITA. It was a fantastic film. I think it deserves everybody's support. So, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And till next time, bye everyone.